Hey, what's up everybody, Maximilian here. Have you been experiencing fatigue and jitteriness while holding your camera for a long period of time? Well, it may be due to the way you're holding your camera. So in this video, I explain 5 ways to hold your camera steady without using a tripod. Coming up next. Now, often neglected and forgotten, camera movement is something that we need to be mindful of, because just a slight movement in your camera while holding it can potentially ruin your photo altogether, which means it can cause blurriness in your photos. Camera blur is determined by mainly 3 factors. The first is the subject whom you're taking photo of, the second is the camera setting, and the third is the camera movement. The movement of the subject that you're taking photo of is something that we can't really control at times. For the camera setting, we can actually adjust it according to the type of images that we want to capture. And most important is the camera movement, which we can control altogether. And camera movement is actually the roots of all camera blurriness apart from camera setting and the subject itself. So here are 5 tips to hold your camera steady without using a tripod. Number 1. Now, having those flip-out screen may be useful at times, and we have the tendency to outstretch the arms while taking a photo, and this can potentially create more instability to your photos instead, especially when using longer shutter speeds. So by putting the camera closer to you, your elbow actually acts as a fulcrum to support the load that is in your camera. Ideally, you want your arms to be at your sides or possibly closer towards your torso. By putting the arms closer to your torso, you're actually putting the weight down onto both of your arms and onto your torso itself to support the weight of the camera, creating more stability to capturing the image. Nope. Alright. And as for your feet positions, you want one feet to go ahead of the other feet by a half step or maybe 1 step ahead to create more stability while capturing your photo. Tip number 2. To support your camera in your hands. First, make sure one of your hands fully support the grip of your camera by putting your fingers around the grip as much as possible in your hand. The other hand support the weight from underneath and not from above. Just say that you put your hand above it, it creates an awkward position and there's nothing underneath to support the weight, and you can potentially create some shakiness while taking a photo. By putting one hand on the grip as firm as possible and the other hand underneath the lens itself, you can also turn the focus ring with more convenience and also to support the weight of the camera altogether. And this is especially useful when you're carrying heavy and bulky lenses like this. So make sure you put your hand underneath the lens itself and one hand on the grip of the camera body and capture the image. If you were to hold your lens like this, it will create fatigue and jitteriness in your arms long term. It goes the same with shooting in portrait as well. So when you're shooting portrait, make sure to turn in this direction, anti-clockwise direction, and try capturing like this instead of like this. So if you put your camera in this way, you're actually exerting more force against your right wrist and potentially causing more fatigue to your arms long term. Tip number 3. Now, if you have a wall beside you, you can actually lean against the wall to create more support and to distribute the weight of the camera load more evenly throughout your body and also against the wall to be more steady while taking a photo. Tip number 4. For more extreme high shots and low shots, you can use a camera strap for additional support. Besides acting as a safety mechanism to holding your camera, it also acts as a support mechanism while taking a photo. In contrast with tip number 1, where you place your arms as close as possible to your body, by using a camera strap, try extending your arms as much as possible, as far as the strap can go while capturing the image. You can go high or lower, high or lower. Say your subject is lower down, try taking the photo by crouching or sitting down on the floor with your arms placed on your legs and feet planted firmly on the ground. And say if the object is on the ground, you can even lie down on the ground to capture the photo. Tip number 5. Have you been taking photos backwards like this? or like this. While medically incorrect as to bring more harm to your back in the long run, you should just relax and straighten your back while taking a photo. If the subject is further away from you, try getting closer to the subject and capture the photo instead of bending forward. And in case the subject is too close to you, try moving backwards to reposition yourself instead of leaning backwards. Say if the subject is far away from you, you can use a longer focal length lens to bring you much convenience to your movements. And now a bonus tip. Some people may find this method rather inconvenient. Let me show you the technique. First, place one of your hands onto the opposite shoulder and place your camera onto the arm, such as this, to capture the photo. For me personally, I find it rather inconvenient as I prefer to hold my camera like this so that I can actually turn the focus ring or the focal length ring itself to have a fuller control over my lens. By doing so, while I can change the settings of my camera body, I could not change the setting of my camera lens. Well, it's up to you personally. So take home message. Try using your torso, your upper and lower limbs as much as possible, and also find some solid structures such as a wall or camera strap for additional support while holding your camera. I hope these tips will bring help to you whether you're venturing into photography and even videography. Be sure to like this video, comment in the section down below, and hit the subscribe button for more upcoming content such as this. Till then, take care and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.